Kyrie Irving is one of the best basketball players in the world. After suffering an ACL injury March of last year, he is currently almost a year and a half post-op. So in this video, we're going to break down 3 things that we can learn from Kyrie's recovery and how we can apply it directly to yours. And stay for the third one, because it's the return to sport stuff that most people miss. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Josh Irwanto. I'm a physical therapist that specializes in ACL rehab and return to sport. So let's dive into the video. So Kyrie Irving injured his ACL and had surgery March of 2025 last year. So at the time I'm recording this video, we're at 16 or 17 months post-op, about a year and a half. From what we know, there's nothing official yet on when he's going to return back to playing the NBA season. From a few sources, he has hinted that he will be playing for the upcoming season in October. So if we're looking at October, that's nearly 20 months after his surgery. So that's nearly 2 years playing at the highest level of basketball in the world. Now let's just think about that for a second. He's obviously someone who's very physically gifted, someone who's very athletic. He's only 33, and he and his team have decided that they will not go back to competitive basketball at that level sooner than 20 months. This is someone whose full-time job is to recover and play competitive basketball. Obviously has elite resources around him, like the best physical therapists, doctors, strength coaches, all the recovery tools that you can probably think of. And even with all of that, they have decided that they are not bringing him back sooner than 20 months post-op. So that should be a strong signal for you. I know the 9 to 12 month timeline is what everybody talks about, but realistically, it takes more than 12 months to truly build the strength and the confidence to trust your knee again for sports. And of course, the timeline will be slightly different for everybody, depending on age, graft type, lifestyle goals. But if one of the best athletes in the world is taking his time, more than a year and a half post-op, to make sure he's fully ready to reduce the chances of re-injury, that should be something that we can learn about. It tells you something about how long a full recovery will take. Now here's something that nobody probably explained to you before. There's a clear difference between returning to play and returning to perform. Most times when we hear about returning to sport after ACL surgery, so the 9 to 12 month timeline, what they're talking about is returning to play. That is not the same as returning to perform. Returning to play is simply being able to get back on that court or the field for the first time after surgery. 100% there will be some hesitation, some fear, some physical limitations that you're still feeling when you get back to play for the first time. And that makes total sense, right? Because that could be your first time playing since your injury, which would have been probably at least a year ago. Your body's gonna have to learn to move in that open space, whether it's the court or the field. It's a way different environment than what you've been used to rehabbing your knee. Let's say the weight room at the gym or even at home. On the other hand, returning to perform is later down after returning to play. Returning to perform is essentially getting back to your pre-injury levels, moving like the way you used to, playing without thinking about your knee, and trusting it so that it can handle different unpredictable situations. And this takes significantly longer than just returning to play. Even at the NBA level, the science shows this very clearly. Players who came back after ACL surgery had limited minutes and limited efficiency or productivity in their first season back after the injury. So they've tracked many different NBA athletes coming back from injury for the first time in their first season, and the numbers show that they had limited efficiency, meaning they're not able to produce as effectively in their first season. Maybe due to limited minutes, they're obviously trying to ease their way back in so they don't re-injure, maybe to build up some psychological confidence. Whatever the case, their first season back is not as efficient. Then, in the second season coming back, their numbers start to normalize. So they're able to produce, be more confident the way that they were used to before. That is the difference between returning to play and returning to perform. And this pattern lines up very well with all the people that I've worked with. When you get told you're cleared by the surgeon or your PT, most likely that is the return to play process. It might take 3 to 12 months to get you from that return to play phase into that full return to performance stage, where you can feel like yourself again, you're moving like you used to, you don't have hesitations in the way you move, you fully trust it. That takes significantly longer. But that time is very valuable because it gives you a chance to continue building, continue filling in the deficits and the gaps that you still have, and to psychologically just feel more comfortable with the game again. So if you're around the 12 months mark and you still don't feel confident physically and psychologically, that's completely normal. So knowing the difference between returning to play and returning to performance can take some of that unnecessary pressure off yourself. Now, It's one thing to know that the timeline can take longer than expected, but what do we do during that time? When we've been told by the surgeon or your PT that you're cleared and fully feeling confident to that return to performance stage, what do we do in that gap, in that time? That's the third point that I'm going to speak about now, and a lot of ACL rehab programs will miss this. So first, here's some clips of Kyrie at 17 months post-op, where he posted this on his social media channels, casually playing one-on-ones with fans, doing casual drills with his coaches, and I'm very confident that this was an intentional decision between him and the medical team. What you're seeing here is a gradual progression of the return to sports stage, which allows his knee, his nervous system, his whole body to feel and build more confidence step by step. This is what a good ACL return to sport plan should look like. It should have structured progressions to make sure that you're not going from 0 to 100 after being told by your surgeon that you're good to play. This is a crucial stage because likely this might be your first few times on the court or on the field since surgery. So if there is no gradual progression, potential re-injuries can happen at this stage and is quite common, unfortunately. So here's a framework that you can use that I apply to my clients, specifically for basketball, but it can apply to most sports. So phase 1 is controlled skill work with no contact. So this could look like stationary ball handling, free throw shooting, defensive shuffles, lateral movements with the ball, but no defenders and no unpredictability. You're just relearning what basketball feels like again. Phase 2 is agility and light contact. This could look like some cutting drills, sprinting backwards, sprinting forwards, reacting to someone else's cues instead of your own. This is also where light contact gets introduced, where you're getting lightly bumped by an opponent or a pad and landing while being nudged in the air. And this matters because landing after contact is one of the most common ways to injure the ACL in basketball. Phase 3. Full return and limited minutes. This could look like game speed drills without contact. If the knee responds well, so no pain, no swelling, then we can start introducing contact scrimmages. The important part about these phases is that you don't want to rush this in just a week or two. This process, if you do it properly, just like how Kyrie's doing it, can take months, anywhere from 3 to 9 months, because we want to allow the brain, the knee, to give enough time to process, build that confidence again, to trust the way you used to move. The good thing is, there's many things we can manipulate or change in your sport. So we can simply take away defenders, we can take away the unpredictability, we can manipulate speed, intensities, minutes. The most important part is you are exposed to your sport carefully, gradually, and then slowly making it more complex as you get more comfortable. These are what I call deliberate, intentional progressions to make sure that you're getting to your goal. If you want to see how I structure ACL rehab to get people back to sports confidently, I put together a free video training that explains my process. And I'll drop that link in the description. So in closing, 3 things to take away from Kyrie's ACL recovery. Don't rush. Time matters more than you think. If one of the best athletes in the world is taking more than a year and a half post-op to get back to your sport, then you should consider that too. Second point, time is one thing, but what you do with that time matters more. Use that time to build more confidence in your knee, your mind, and your body to get you to that pre-injury level. Remember the difference between returning to play and returning to performance. And the bridge or the solution is a structured framework that is tailored for your sport. Whatever situation you're in, keep going, you got this, and I'll see you in the next one.